And welcome to the Aspire Higher podcast. Your host, Dave Glaser. We provide personal trainers with simple solutions to build a business, master online training, and eventually open their own studio. Our goal is to share business systems, marketing tools, customer service strategies to help you build a business quickly so that it can be sustained long term.
All right, welcome back to the Aspire Higher podcast. I am so excited to introduce my guest, Mr. Barry Donovan, first impression warrior. He works with business owners, developing their first impression through photography and through a fantastic product. And that's the number one reason why I wanted to invite you in is tell me a little bit more about how you got into being a first impression warrior and why.
Okay, well, I appreciate you having me here, Dave, number one. And so my background is marketing, and I'm a professional photographer, and I kind of had an epiphany a few years back about people online. Whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or Bumble or Tinder, right?
We'll get to that.
Yeah. you see people's photographs. And I just go, what were they thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And I see more and more business people, and when I go to networking events and those types of things, and I think about the first impression I have of them, which a lot of times is fine, but other times you're going, what was that person thinking? And if you're a professional, you only get one chance to make a great first impression, right? That's the old saying. So that's kind of how I started thinking about it. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to start sharing my thoughts on first impressions with other people. So I started a podcast. And then I have a product that I developed for business people that helps them set themselves apart from other people and create a great first impression by using a digital business card on their phone, a customized digital business card. So
I've seen it. It's a really cool product. And,
thank you.
I'm excited to get more involved. What are the top 5 things that you would recommend for somebody to make a good first impression online? Let's start there.
First thing, professional headshot. Now it doesn't have to be up against a blue background, traditional studio background. When people hear headshot, and that's what they think of. You can have a professional photographer take you outside and have some greenery behind you, blur the background. It's all about the lighting. Okay, that's the trick. It's photography, right? It's the study of light. So it's all about the lighting, but have a professional. Don't have somebody take your iPhone, even though the iPhone has portrait mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Spend the money. You know, in Denver area, you can get a professional headshot done from $100 to $300. So there's no reason not to. That would be number one.
Mm-hmm.
Get a professional headshot. Number 2, and we're talking about online, right?
Yeah, how do we show up
presence.
online? Top five best tips that you've got.
The second thing is, if you're producing content, make sure you edit your content, okay? There's nothing worse than misspellings, right? Or poor grammar, those types of things. We've gotten into a time here in society where everything is text, right? And it's short spurts. People don't know how to write anymore. And I think it's important. You'll stand out above the rest of the crowd if your writing is on par and grammatically correct, those types of things. So I would say definitely from a content standpoint, you know, keep it.
Take a look before you click publish.
Don't be in a hurry. Everybody's in a hurry these days, right? And everything has to be instant. Take the time and, you know, take a step back. So that would be 2. And then speaking of content, when you produce content, have a strategy, because this is kind of one of those border things on a first impression. But if you don't have a strategy, you're all over the place. People are confused. They don't know where you're going. So have a social media strategy. I don't want to get into social media that deep, but have a strategy of where you're going, and whenever you're telling the story, because now the big thing on Instagram and Facebook is stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're telling a story, have a beginning, a middle, and an end of the story. Whether it's a 15-second story or a 15-minute story, have a beginning, a middle, and end. And the end should usually be a call to action, right?
Sure.
From a marketing standpoint. And don't always, you know this as well, don't always be posting stuff about your business and selling.
Mm-hmm.
Provide value.
Mm-hmm.
That would be number one. Provide value to your audience. And value can be as simple as a quote or a meme that speaks to them and reminds them of, hey, you know what? I'm not having such a bad day, or whatever the case may be. So provide value would be another one. Online. This is hard because I can't think very straight right now. Well, going back to the headshot, your attire.
Okay, yeah.
Dress appropriately for your profession. Okay, so you're a personal trainer and educator. I wouldn't expect to see you in a three-piece suit. Right?
Probably not. You know,
Right.
maybe once a year.
Right. So dress appropriately for your profession. And that goes for your photo online. Now, if you're doing videos, you know, short Instagram videos or Snapchat or whatever, don't worry about what you're wearing. Just do it. That's the key, right?
Mm-hmm. As long as it has value.
It has
as long
value.
as the content
right.
has value.
Exactly. So that's what I would recommend online.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a few things.
And then there's still a personal touch to business nowadays. It's not all completely online. Can you finish off maybe those top 5 or top 7 in person? Once you meet somebody that you connected with through a marketing campaign or an Instagram strategy,
Right.
what are those things to maybe welcome them in, make a good first impression in
Sure.
person?
Number 1, be on time. Okay? If you set up a meeting with somebody, be on time. Without a doubt. That's the number 1 worst thing, in my opinion, you could do. Because by not being on time, you're disrespecting the other person's time.
Agreed.
So be on time. That's number 1 in person. Number 2, your handshake. We all learned when we were younger, you know, don't do the dead fish handshake. I can't tell you how many people I shake hands with every week that give you that dead fish handshake, right? A nice firm handshake. Look the person right in the eye when you shake their hand. And then the other thing is, if it's the first time you met them, you go, Dave, nice to meet you, Dave.
Nice to meet you.
You having a
Thanks,
good day today, Dave?
Yeah.
Repeat the person's name 3 or 4 times, because we all done it. We've met somebody and we get distracted by somebody else, and we come back and we go to talk to them and like, what was that guy's name again?
Amen. Yeah.
Right?
Amen.
So repeat their name several times when you meet them. That's another trick of the trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the handshake. Another little trick when you're going to an event where they give you those little name tags. Put the name tag on your right side of your chest. Why? Because when you shake hands, where do your eyes go?
To the chest, I'm sure,
to that right side of their
okay.
chest,
Yeah.
right? My dad taught me that eons ago. So those are a few in-person things. The other one is be responsive and be responsible. If you and I met and I promised you, you know what, Dave, when I get back to the office, I'm going to send you a link to that article we talked about, do it. Because we all have had
Of
people
course,
who said,
yeah.
oh yeah, I'm going to send you a lead or a link or something, and it's crickets.
Yep.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you be responsive and responsible in terms of making promises and following through on promises. Those are some of the keys that I would say in person. And so that would be follow-up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
First impression moving into the second impression, repeating somebody's name, that gets into the second impression as well. Like, oh, well, shoot, Barry remembered my name, you know,
Right.
and we only just met yesterday or 2 hours ago or 30 minutes ago.
Right.
That's a really great point. And as personal trainers, we love to focus on setting the appointment, that first initial consultation. So we welcome you into the studio, we give you a short tour, and then we sit down to have that initial conversation. Walk me through making a first impression during that time, whether it's in your business or maybe in a personal trainer's business.
Well, it goes back to some of the things we talked about. When they come in the door, a firm handshake, a look in the eye, greet them by name, because you know they're coming. Don't mess up the name, right?
It's written down in my calendar.
Right. Have a plan. Have a plan of what you're going to do and the tour, and repeat it. Just do it over and over and over again, and don't stray from it. Figure out what's the best approach to that tour and meeting, and have that outline or agenda and stick to it. And be professional. Have a, I don't know about you guys, but in your personal training area, but having a written agenda is something people don't do anymore. It could be just a piece of paper with 4 things written on it, and we're going to talk about this, this, and this today. Is that okay with you? Do you have anything else you want to add to the agenda? That shows you're professional. That leaves a good first impression. Again, there's a lot of opportunity out there because most people don't do stuff like that. So that gives you a chance to separate yourself from the crowd. And if you can differentiate yourself, more power to you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, there are marketing agencies out there, tens of thousands of them across the country. There's even more personal trainers out there. So setting yourself apart from the competition, even in those little tiny strategies, is key to moving our business forward.
Right.
And I like what you said about having an agenda for that first initial meeting and then repeating it over and over and over again. And how flexible would you be in over time creating it and recreating it?
I think you should be open to, it goes back to that client walks out the door. Take a second and go, okay, what went good? What can I do better? Review. So absolutely it can change over time because you're going to learn. You know what? That didn't go too well, or you know what? We should have done this first because then it would have led into that type of thing. So yeah, absolutely review and be open to that. I'm not saying you have to stick to this exact agenda, but have a written plan and use it, and then go back and review it and see what works best and what doesn't. And then the other thing is, talk to the other personal trainers, right? What's working for you? What's not working for you? Learn from them, and then incorporate that into your approach.
Sure, of course. So like we'll never know it all.
Right.
There's always that next, or somebody doing it better that we can emulate, that we can kind of duplicate. And that's something that I coach all the time is like, we're more powerful together than we are on our own.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So when you're working with a business owner, who is it that you love working with most?
Solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. I guess, how do you differentiate between the two? There really isn't.
Entrepreneurs have a team,
They could have a
solopreneurs
team, right?
are wearing many hats.
Right, exactly. No, but I like working with the individual business owners that are small team, with a small team, and startups. And when I say startup, not just startup business, it could be a realtor who just got into the business, right? They're a startup, quote unquote, right? Who don't have this massive amount of preconceived or predisposition on how to do things, where you could kind of help guide them the right path and not have to fight them on working out all the negative stuff that's been filled in their brains. I would say those are the types of people I like to work with. Salespeople, people who are meeting with people one-on-one on a regular basis and networking, because it all comes back to the networking, the first impressions, and my other business, the digital cards.
Sure.
And those are the types of people that use those, salespeople. And then I have some service people as well, plumbers, AC, massage therapists.
That have face-to-face contact
Yes,
with people.
right.
There's still a human element to us.
Absolutely.
to our businesses in
Right.
2018.
Yep.
Quickly describe what this digital card is that you provide and offer for personal trainers or solopreneurs, entrepreneurs.
So it's a microsite. It's like a mini app that sits on the home screen of your phone, and it allows you to share your contact information and a little glimpse of who you are to anybody you meet via text, via email, if you have a QR reader, or if you have an iPhone, you have a built-in QR reader. Simply by scanning the QR code, you can share it with somebody, and it allows you to, again, I'm going back to separate yourself from the crowd and create a great first impression. There are a number of digital business cards out there, and they range from what I call cookie cutter or template based to custom designed. I'm on the custom design spectrum. Every card we do is designed based on the brand standards of the individual company that we're working for. We create them in Photoshop. Okay, you don't go to the website and pick a background color, upload your headshot, and upload your logo, and it automatically creates the card for you. There are services out there that do that, and for some people, that's great. I don't want to work with those people. I want to work with people who care about their brand and care about their image and want to get that wow factor. You saw Jeff Jones's card.
I did, yeah.
What was your first reaction?
Wow, it was it was a wow factor when I saw how easy it was to share it. You know, we walked through the process, and then I also just how good it looked on my cell phone.
Right.
You know, 95% of our clients use our products on our cell phone. We can track that number. We know exactly where they're hitting us, where they're staying on our website, etc.
Right.
But you have tracking capability also.
Sure.
So this isn't just like some random, we hope some people share it. You can actually see the results.
Right. We can tell at this point in this iteration of the card, we can tell how many unique devices that the card is on and how many views how many times it's been seen. So for example, Jeff. Jeff's on 1,100 phones, and he's been viewed over 3,500 times.
3,500 times.
You can't do that with a printed business card.
No, absolutely not, because a printed business card might go from one person, yourself, to another person, and maybe 1 degree further.
Right.
But this particular business card is being shared easier. It never gets lost because nobody's ever without their phone.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, and the other advantage is you move locations, you change your phone number or your email address or whatever. You got to get all those cards printed again, right? Or else you're going to take a pen and draw through them.
Yeah, right.
That's not a good first impression. With a digital card, whether it's our custom design card or one of the templates, you request a change or you make the change yourself, and all those 1,100 people that have Jeff's card instantly have the update. He just changed locations.
Oh, did he?
He's got he's going to be over in not Centennial, Lake Littleton, and he's moving from his Centennial. So he wanted to remove that address and link from his card.
Everything's updated on everyone's device.
Everyone is updated. It's automatic. So that's the beauty of it too. So for the cost of maybe a couple Starbucks a month, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer to me. Why do you believe in this so much? Why did you decide on this route to make a good first impression for business owners?
Because everybody has to exchange a business card, right? I mean, a traditional paper card, and we're in a digital world. The digital card just gives you so much more latitude. In addition to, the first screen being a great photo of you and your logo and your branding and your colors and your main benefits of working with Dave. And we coach people on what to put on their card as well. We provide consulting as to what are the 3 things you need on that card. And the first thing is, what do you do? There's so many cards that you look at and you go, I still don't know what this is.
Yeah, it's not clear.
What do you do? How does the consumer benefit from working with you, and how can they get a hold of you? Those are the top 3 things. Then the rest of the card is links to the website, because we're not wanting to create a new website. You already have all that content out there. Link to your website. If you're a realtor, link to your listings. Personal trainer, maybe you have some PDFs or an ebook that you wrote. Link to those types of things. So we can link to anything out there. So you have a lot of flexibility to provide value. Again, it goes back to value to your clients or your prospective clients.
Right. Make a good first impression, provide value, and you mentioned networking as an important piece of the puzzle for business owners. You're a big fan of networking. I know you're out in the community a lot. Where can people find you networking on a weekly basis?
Here in Denver, I'm one of the organizers of Connect for Lunch. It's on Meetup. And I also do a once a month meetup in Highlands Ranch called the Highlands Ranch Business Networking Group. And we meet the first Thursday of the month at the Rock in Highlands Ranch. I know that people outside of Denver are going, where is this? But it's okay. If you're on Meetup, look for a weekly or a bi-weekly or whatever works in your schedule networking group on meetup.com, and you'll be fine. Or there's BNI and some other ones out there. But yeah, we meet the first Thursday of the month for a social activity. It's just cocktails and conversation. That's all it is. We don't have a formal program. Mm-hmm. The weekly ones are more, you stand up, you give your minute introduction, and then you set up one-on-one meetings with the people that are there, so you get to know, like, and trust them, so that you could build a relationship with them.
Sure. Why is networking still important in a digital age?
I still think, I'm not going to refer somebody that I have never met. Even though, on LinkedIn you can get a good feel for who they are and their background and that sort of thing. I think business is local. Still, especially in the professions we're talking about, personal training, massage therapy, real estate, it's local. So you've got to get out there as an individual and see people eye to eye and get a feel for them. And one of my biggest pet peeves is the guy who comes to a networking group and within 20 seconds is pitching you.
Okay. That's not what you're there for.
Wrong. Get the gong out, right?
That's a bad first impression.
That's a bad first impression. The whole idea about networking is, like I said, get to know, like, and trust the person. And you can't do that by pitching your wares. In one of our networking groups, we have a rule. There's no pitching in the first one-on-one meeting, which is usually like an hour meeting over coffee or something. Mm-hmm. And in that meeting, you and I had one.
Yeah, we did.
We talked about what you like to do, what I like to do, what are my hobbies, where am I from, where did I grow up, where did you grow up? Get to know the individual. And then on the second or third meeting, then delve into the business part of it. And you know what, who are you looking for, what's your ideal prospect? Maybe I can help you out.
Exactly.
But don't do that in the first meeting. That's
right.
A no-no.
Right. I love that know, like, and trust factor. That's something that, as personal trainers, we want to communicate that as very, very important. The first impression goes a long way in the getting to know somebody, getting to like somebody, and especially the trust factor too.
Right.
So punctuality, the basics.
Right.
It doesn't cost you anything to show up on time.
No.
It costs effort, but that's free. Everybody's got the time to make a good first impression. Mm-hmm. So what are some other strategies or other tips that can help build that know, like, and trust factor, maybe within 2 or 3 meetings of connecting with somebody?
I'll go back to do what you say you're going to do.
Integrity,
okay. And follow through and follow up. Those are probably the 2 most important things. And the other one is, how often have you met with somebody or somebody sends you an email and says, hey Dave, this is my friend Jeff, I think you two should get together. Much appreciated, mm-hmm. But totally the wrong approach, I think. We're lazy. Pick up the phone and call Jeff and say, Jeff, I just met with Dave. He's a great guy. He does personal training. He does online courses. And I think there's some synergy there. Would you be interested in meeting with with Dave? Mm-hmm. Right? And then do the same thing on the other end of the call, right? Take 5 minutes and pick up the thing that we used to use called a telephone, right?
Yeah.
Because even in emails, I know people who do great jobs. Jeff Jones does a great job. He introduces the people, he gives a little background on both people, and then he says, here, you guys take it from there. Right. That's a huge effort compared to most people. So take the time to do the introduction properly. That would be.
And being in face-to-face marketing, being in a kind of networking for our businesses, that first impression goes a long way. And referrals are very valuable. Like, it's almost that once we set ourselves apart, making a good first impression in a one-to-one, or after we meet one-to-one, like in Jeff's case, we both made a good first impression on each other, and then now we're introduced to you.
Right.
That's a very valuable resource.
Sure.
And we need to cultivate that relationship. So beyond that first impression, beyond the first initial meeting, how do we cultivate an even stronger relationship through collaboration or through relationship building?
Right. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Collaboration. What can I do to help you? What can you do to help me? We're doing that right now, right?
I hope
we
so.
both
Sure.
have podcasts,
Yeah.
and I'm being a guest on your podcast, and then you're going to be a guest on my podcast, I hope.
I can't
Right?
wait. Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
So that's a great way to, and it's not costing us anything, and we're getting to know each other better too.
Exactly.
So collaborating on those types of things. Maybe you have content that might be of interest to people that I work with. Using your content, because we all know content is a pain in the ass, right?
It takes time to write. It takes time to research.
It's a huge
Sure.
huge part of today's marketing environment. It's all about content, and the other thing that we didn't talk about is influencers, right?
Okay.
Finding the influencers that can help promote your business, and then you can in turn help them. That I'm not very good at. I just haven't had the time to do it. I'm aware that that's something I could do. But right now, you're an influencer. You're influencing your audience every time you do a podcast, right? They listen to you. They believe in what you have to say, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And so you're an influencer that I'm meeting with today that I really didn't even think of it until 10 seconds ago. Right?
Sure, that we're collaborating.
Right.
Even as we speak, we're becoming influencers in each other's businesses, but also building a connection and a relationship too.
Right.
You know, we've got a friend tagging along today. I get to meet a new friend of yours,
Right.
sitting off camera here. But this is community. This is what we're
Right.
building, and people in your industry, people in my industry, and the people that we serve should be very cognizant of this.
Absolutely.
Latch onto it and actually grow from it.
Absolutely. Again, we're in such a digital age that everybody wants everything instantly, and they want to do it anonymously
Okay.
behind the computer screen, right?
Okay.
Even though your picture's on Facebook or whatever, or you're doing a video, it's still not the same. I think the people that are going to succeed in any type of business are the ones who make the extra effort, and as Gary V says, right? Do the work. And the work is getting out there and meeting in person and writing those articles and helping those people do what they need to do to be successful. And if you help people be successful, you can't help but be successful. My friends go, oh, you know what, you're a connector. And I never even thought about being a connector. I host a networking meeting every week. I host one every month. And I try to connect people. But I never went into it thinking about, I'm going to be this big connector. That's not what I did. I just wanted to get people together and have an opportunity to get to know each other and meet each other. The whole connector thing was not part of the plan. But I guess that's just...
It happened by accident.
Right.
Yeah, of course. And our intentionality, people can see through honest and genuine, and then they can see through the BS too.
Right.
So if you're a BS connector,
Right.
you know, we're all rookies at one point. Like 5.5 years ago, I wasn't a very good business owner, but I was a damn good trainer, and I've grown in both areas over the course of that time.
Sure.
What's next for you in your business?
So I'm focusing strictly on my digital business card business. We're doing another iteration of the software and focusing on that over the next few months. Hopefully launching that in November and then hitting the ground. Up to this point, my clients have been local through my networking groups, and I have about 70 or 80 clients that use a digital card. Paid clients. I have a number of that I gave away in the beginning for free to get the word out. But so I have about 120 people using the card, and I did some testing on Google AdWords and Facebook to see if I could actually sell this, offer it to people online, and the testing went well. So the next step is to hit the ground running once I have the new platform up, and offer it and share it and help other businesses grow using the card. That's my goal.
Sounds like a simple plan. We preach simplicity in our business design. Personal training is not a simple process, but it can be a very simple idea, a simple philosophy. So where can people best get a hold of you if what you're talking about resonates with them?
So my website is www.visnesscard.com. So that's V as in Victor, ISNESS, card.com. And my email is Barry, BARRY, @visnesscard.com.
Okay. Is that a play on virtual business card?
It was in the beginning, but now it's kind of evolved to visible.
Visible.
Visible. My tagline is be visible, be different.
And everybody's brand should be visible.
Absolutely.
It should be identifiable as quickly, like what you do, right off the bat.
Right.
And like what you said earlier about business cards, it's only a front and a back of a 2-inch by 1.5-inch card,
Right.
and you can't put your entire identity on a business card front and back.
Right. Absolutely.
And this is the next evolution of identifying your brand on everybody's cell phone.
Right. Absolutely.
1,100 cell phones for Jeff.
Jeff's on 1,100.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And he's a true connector. Like, he might be the
Right.
he's a good natural at it.
Right. And he's used different strategies to get that out there. But he's worked at it.
Sure.
And then we have other people. I have 700-800 devices, and they've only had the card maybe a year and a half. So
Okay.
yeah.
Let's leave a lasting impression.
Okay.
We made a good first impression. We talked about second impressions. What are our closing thoughts? What's the one thing that you would give to business owners, solo entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs about growing their business with a first impression?
Well, you added that last part, didn't you? With a first impression.
Be visible.
Well, yeah, be visible. I think it really goes back to the first couple things I talked about, and that is because people are judgmental, right? Make sure you take the time to get that headshot done, okay? Just spend the $150 or whatever it is and get that headshot done. And the other thing is be cognizant of your attire when you're going to meet people. Just think about the event or activity and dress for that. And don't walk in there with a big yellow hat on and try to stand out, because it's going to give the opposite. It's going to have the opposite effect.
They'll remember you, but for the wrong reason.
Exactly.
Not for your professionalism.
Right.
Not for your integrity.
But
Yeah,
for
but
your
for the
swagger.
maybe your unprofessionalism, because you're making a joke of what you were there to do.
Right.
Our businesses are not a joke.
No. You and I both know that.
Yeah, we're very serious about growing it, and we're very serious about moving forward. So thank you so very much, Barry. Yes, of course, I'll be a guest on your podcast.
Excellent.
Let's set our appointment today before you go.
We'll do that. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, absolutely. If Barry's message resonates with you and you're more interested in how you can get involved with his program, marketing-based, photography-based, and businesscard.com, please, the information will be in the show notes. Scroll on down and click on through and get a hold of you. Thank you so
sir.
very much.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.